Good morning, Nashville to Cashville. Let's talk about it.
Cue the music.
Good morning. Welcome to the Upper Deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Chris, and that's Lynn.
Hey.
And we are here to find out what's going to happen during the winter meetings. Lynn, before I guess we dive into anything, though, tell me how you're doing and whether or not you have a trivia question this week.
I am doing just great. There's nothing like a sunny Sunday to put you in the best mood. And if you're not in the New York City area, you know that I'm being super sarcastic. And so, hey, good morning, Lori, Jonathan, and FJ. Good to see you on time as usual. You don't get detention today. Right on time. Hey, right on time as well. And just in time for our trivia question from Spencer. And so here we go. So the original Yankee Stadium opened 100 years ago. When George Steinbrenner brought the team in 1973, it was when Yankee Stadium turned 50 years old. It would be the final year it would exist in its original form before undergoing a 2-year renovation. And I'm old enough to remember that well. Though named the house that Ruth built, which Yankee hit the last home run in the original Yankee Stadium?
That's a great question.
Spencer's bringing the real stumpers.
Yes.
Yep, and you have to be as old as me or older to know to even know that somewhat off the top of your head or remember when that was happening. But hey, use your noggins and put your guesses in the chat, and we'll give you the answer at the end of the show.
All right, that's an excellent question. We want to talk winter meetings. Today is day one. They stretch through Thursday. There better be some freaking action.
There better be some freaking action because I named the show Cashville. And so he better do something because he better turn Nashville into Cashville. If he does, I'm going to write a country song called Nashville into Cashville.
I don't know if you want to start off with some predictions for the winter meetings, but I have some of mine. We'll see what people in the chat think. I'm saying Soto to the Yankees. I know we got tons to talk about as far as Soto is concerned. Lynn, I know you've got some stuff you dug up on this. Andy Martino was keeping us all entertained and informed over the last few days. What have you seen? What are you seeing about Soto?
Well, and Lori kind of set the stage for it right there because we're hearing reports all over the place from anyone from Rosenthal through Brendan Cootie from The Athletic and Heyman, Andy Martino from SNY. So yes, most definitely the Padres are building themselves a pretty nice package for Christmas. And they're asking for multiple players and really honing in on pitching. So among the mix mentioned is Michael King and Drew Thorpe and other prospects like Vasquez Brito. And there were others that were named that will come to my mind. And so to be in there, and they also want salary relief for Soto, as well as for Trent Grisham. So that's
hey Dev,
hey Dev, what's going on? That's a pretty hefty package for somebody that we would be considering a stopgap, at least to the extent that we know. We don't know whether there's going to be other discussions about a longer deal for him. We could set everybody's mind at ease. None of those reporters, and including Hoke, think that we have to worry about Dominguez or Volpe or Torres or Wells or even Pereira. And although Brendan Cootie from The Athletic did name Clark Schmidt as another potential target.
Right.
So, of those, I'm really curious, Chris, what you think about them even uttering King and Schmidt's names at this point.
Say I will personally drive them to the airport. Go get Soto. That's my opinion. We need Soto to win. We need to go get the pitching we need as well. So if we have to give up a Mike King or a Schmidt, we need to get the pitching. That's just all there is to it. So, but Soto is a must, and I think he's the top of the wish list. However, I think he's co-top of the wish list with Yamamoto, who would help solve some of the pitching headache. But
right.
What's your opinion?
So, I'm still wearing last season, and if were it not for Schmidt and King, we would have had a 3-pitcher rotation, essentially, right? With Sevy being struggling as he was, with Nestor out, with Rodon being Rodon. Thank goodness we had them, and pulling them from the pen and into the rotation was a happy surprise. So yeah, they haven't had a lot of road under their wheels in terms of being in the rotation, but if we don't get Yamamoto, what happens to that rotation? Because there's still a big, we lost Sevy, which we knew. We're a big question mark next to Rodon's name, because who knows what we're going to get from him. And Nestor would just be coming back. And, I love me some Nestor, but let's be honest. He was out for a very long time. And so, but I seem to be in the minority because everyone's saying give up Thorpe, King, or Schmidt in a package, not all three. Only one of them.
Yeah. You may have to go out and get Dylan Cease. I know that he's in talks. I think he's been rumored to be in the Braves, right, are interested in Cease. Has that been the rumor? But also Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow. There's some big name pitchers out there to be acquired. Oh, Blake Snell is on my wish list for Christmas. But I doubt very much if we get Yamamoto, if we're also going to get a Blake Snell, obviously. But what about Monty? Reunite with him. I know we probably talked about that last week. Montgomery is certainly making his home in Boston, and it's looking kind of scary for Monty fans.
Yep. And and actually that was another thing talked about on MLB.com. And Monty is on his own hunt right now, because Monty, unlike other free agent pitchers, isn't waiting for Yamamoto to sign.
Yeah.
He's making his own way, selling his own deal. And so I think that there's plenty, per Mark Feinsand, there's plenty of teams that, are viable suitors that would be interested in him. But and Feinsand's even predicting that Montgomery, it wouldn't be a surprise for him to have a deal before the end of winter meetings.
Right. I predict that Ohtani's going to sign. And really, if we're going to talk about winter meetings, we got to talk about Ohtani, because let's face it, what's the holdup? He's been in the league for 2 years now. He knows his way around. He knows what's what. Pick your team, move on, get your deal so we can break the dam behind, the Ohtani jam up there.
And so it's I think I believe I read something about the Blue Jays now kind of vying for Ohtani. And so if that's the case, then I think it's what we've been saying for a while now about he's likely not interested in the East Coast. I think we're going to find that becoming more and more clear. But it's interesting that there really hasn't, it's been a quiet week for the most part about just about all of the big names being tossed around, Ohtani being one of them. But I think he's going to get signed during the meetings. And Li, yeah, you wanted to know what Chris Knight thought about Soto.
The Soto offer. My understanding is that the Padres want pitching, major league ready pitching, or near major league ready pitching. So Li, if Ian Hamilton, yes, prospects. It looks like you've got Chase Hampton in there, Brock Selvage. You don't have Drew Thorpe. He's the name they want. Why not give him Drew Thorpe?
Right.
I don't see why not. But yes, go whatever package it takes to get Soto. I say. But my next question about Soto is, who else has the package that the Yankees have to offer for Soto? Are there really seriously other suitors besides the Yankees who have that available? How seriously are we? I guess my real question is, how seriously are we negotiating against ourselves?
I think that the teams already mentioned are still big suitors for Soto. I think I would imagine, Boston is going to be, upping the ante with that. I was looking for something in particular about this. But I think that, and hey, I just wanted to say hi to Tatted Rose and Anthony Garcia, who joined us. Thanks for being here.
And Jonna, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you stopping in. And if you don't know Babes podcast, check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give them a listen.
Speaking of, before we forget, we want to talk about the one pre-winter meeting acquisition that the Yankees did make this week. And Lynn, Oscar Gonzalez, that's not a name that was on anybody's lips.
No. And so that was a big surprise, and really interested in hearing how everyone feels about this breaking news, because this was just put out there yesterday. So you heard it here first on Upper Deck, ladies and gentlemen. There's that feeling of, we just got somebody off of waivers who gave us many years, game 3 of the championship series, of the division series rather. So there's that. So I already have feelings about him. We will have some fun, plate music for him. So they call him SpongeBob SquarePants, and apparently it is that made him a fan favorite in Cleveland.
As long as he doesn't hit like SpongeBob, which unfortunately is about what happened. I mean, he's coming off a dismal season in 2023. Just to look at some of his numbers, in 54 big league games this season, which he had a rookie year where he had a big rookie year last year. He hit 22 home runs, he hit 11 home runs last year in 2022, 296 batting average, but not in 2023. He was sent down. He was not having a good start to the season, but in 54 big league games, he struck out at a 25.6% of his plate appearances, and he walked only 2.8% of the time. He hit 214 this year. He's apparently considered a poor defender, and I'm just wondering, Lynn, what kind of depth piece you believe this player to be?
Well, I know one thing for sure: he sure fits in with the Yankees, with the 22-23 Yankees. It's typical Cashman, isn't it?
It is typical Cashman.
So he already went, to the flea market and grabbed this guy off of waivers. And yeah, and Lori, I agree. We're all about the left-handed bat quest. And Lori's saying, first of all, we don't need another right-handed bat. But FJ and NFE are both saying, well, and FJ saying Gonzalez will be the center fielder until Dominguez returns. Wash your mouth out with soap, my friend. I'm not even going to go there. But
so those of you who were afraid we might acquire Kiermaier, look who we got.
Yeah, Kiermaier's looking a little bit better now, isn't it, friends? But NFE is actually standing out there and saying that he likes the Gonzalez signing. It's a depth piece. Yeah, it's a body to put out there for sure. And in fairness, a slight nod is that they did end up bringing Gonzalez back up second half of the season, and he had a pretty decent postseason, to our detriment in Game 3, but there was some improvement when he came back up, and maybe, who knows? But we shouldn't be saying maybe. We should be able to get guys that have the numbers and the experience behind them. I'm sure Cashman got him because he's the only person that jumped and grabbed him. I don't think there would be much of a market for that for him.
Yeah, like Lori said, it's Franchi and Willie part 2. So I guess we don't have to waste any more breath on that. Let's move on. Lynn, I know you had found some interesting topics that came up in a Feinsand, right? Mark Feinsand.
So I thought this would really be fun to run through with everybody because MLB.com had an article about 6 questions about the winter meetings, and so they talked to Feinsand and Morosi about some key hot stove questions, and we're bringing them to you for your predictions. So one of the questions was, which team will be the most active at the winter meetings? So think on that. What do you guys think? Which team will be the most active at the winter meetings? While I tell you that Feinsand says that he thinks the Cubs will be the most active, which surprised me. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. There's been these Cub rumblings all through the off season. There's some rumblings that the Cubs might be after Ohtani. I don't see why not. It's a big market. Like I said, now that Ohtani's been here a while, he knows what's what. Maybe he doesn't want to come to Yankee Stadium, maybe because he wants to be bigger than the venue. But I think that if he went to Wrigley and went to Chicago, he'd be a much bigger fish in a smaller pond. But my prediction is Ohtani to Chicago. But that's just that's me. I don't know about Cubs being active. Otherwise, I know they need pitching. That's for sure. They've been linked to Tyler Glasnow in the offseason. I love Glasnow. He's another excellent name. But, most of you know I grew up in the Midwest. So I am a sort of a secret Cub fan. But the Yankees are my first love and my biggest love.
Yeah, and also in this article I read that we have to remember that the Cubs lost Stroman, Bellinger, and Candelario, and so they need it all. They need a pitcher, they need an outfielder, and a third baseman. So Feinsand's prediction makes sense, and but Morosi says that he predicts that the Giants are going to be the most active. Please note that one of them said the Yankees. Shocker. So, but, after changing managers, I pulled this out because I thought it was interesting. So obviously Giants lost out on Judge because Cashman did one thing right in the past during his tenure. After changing managers following a losing season, the Giants are keen to send a message that they won't tolerate mediocrity. They haven't reached the postseason since Buster Posey was there. So since he retired, no winning season. So and look who they're in the division with: Dodgers and Diamondbacks.
That's right.
So that they're embarrassed and looking to get some rep.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so what are we hearing in here? So Bellinger going back to the Cubs is a possibility. Okay.
Yeah.
And hey, Angelo, good to see you. Yes.
And Angelo's right. The Yankees need to step up or bust. They need to be the most active at the winter meetings. They had a season that was a disaster, according to their vice president and general manager. What do you do if you have a season that's a disaster? You go out and make it right. And I'm hoping that's what happens at the winter meetings. Like, the Soto trade needs to happen sooner rather than later. I mean, Ohtani needs to make up his mind and bust the log jam, I think. But even barring that happening sooner rather than later, I don't see why Soto can't get negotiated and settled and out of the way, and the Yankees on to happily signing people like Oscar Gonzalez. I mean, I would be able to tolerate that a lot better if the Yankees had acquired Soto first.
Right. Yeah. So it maybe are they playing head games with us? Let's make them grumble and worry because we're agents of evil, and then they're just going to love us all the much more when we sign Soto. I wouldn't give them enough brain cells to even think that they could be that crafty. So, but one of the other questions, and we just touched on this a little bit, was about Ohtani and Feinstein and Morosi's predictions on where he's going to go. And they both predicted the Dodgers.
Okay.
And that doesn't come as a surprise, I don't think, to any of us.
No.
And FJ's an agent of chaos. Yeah. I think we're in the same squad, FJ. So Angelo's saying 45% sales dropped to fans and will continue. Yep, absolutely. But they're not crying for the money, apparently. So the stadium was looking pretty empty a lot of the time. And Angelo, I'm right there with you. I don't think I'm alone. It's hard to keep the dream of the legacy alive, but I lived through dismal 70s and 80s, and so I'm here for whatever.
Yeah.
You have to like pain to be a Yankee fan. And John is saying yes. So absolutely, Jonna, we put our blinders on with one big deal. So basically, we're setting ourselves up. We're not managing our expectations, and we use that phrase a lot on this show.
Yeah. Well, I've said in the past, I still have PTSD from the years we didn't get Machado and Harper. I believe I have the right to be pretty pissed off if the Soto deal doesn't happen, especially when the Yankees have the most need and seem to be the prime suitor. Get the deal done, Cashman. Make us happy. Give us an early Christmas and do it this week at the winter meetings. We're begging you. Lynn, do you mind if we hop over to some bullpen talk?
Oh yeah, let's do it. We said last week we were gonna, so yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah, we wanted to see what people were thinking about the bullpen. I thought we would kick it off today talking about the closers, and in particular Clay Holmes. Let me know in the chat. Clay Holmes, is he your closer in 2024? Do the Yankees need a closer? Do we need to go get Josh Hader? There are other closers. Tell me what you're thinking about this on this topic.
You know what I'm thinking?
What?
There's no one like Holmes for
the Oh my God, Lynn. Well, look, I see NFE says no, he is not. He is not my closer. And it's funny, but I was looking at an article this week by Brendan Cuddy in The Athletic, and he says that Yankees Clay Holmes proves Mariano Rivera right with strong follow-up to breakout season. So I was doing some research so we could talk about this topic today, and I realized, like Anthony says, that Clay Holmes gave us a lot of anxious moments. There is absolutely no doubt about that. But he was solid. Rivera remarked early in 2023 that even though Holmes appeared to struggle, he still had a consistency, just as he had himself when he was playing. And it turns out that Holmes had a rather solid season. He does not have Josh Hader numbers.
Right.
He's not Josh Hader. But he had 24 saves out of 27 opportunities. That's not bad. A 218 on base average against. Let's see what else. He was 4-4 with a 2.86 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. He was a ground ball machine in 2023. So what if you don't want Holmes back? Who do you want? Who's okay? I see that NFE's talking about
Brad and NFE both said Class A. Yeah.
Bednar, yeah. Bednar from the Pirates. Obviously, that would be an option. Clay Holmes said that he felt like his fastball command, improved a lot in 2022. I mean, from 2022. And he credited his work with pitching coach Matt Blake, with Desi Druschel, who's the assistant, and bullpen coach Mike Harkey for his improvements. So it seems like at least Holmes is on the right track. Do we have faith that he could become grow into the role more?
Well, I think Tatted Rose, has a good point, and I would agree. He's a late innings guy, but he's not. Look, I finally stopped buying as many Rolaids once we got rid of Chappie, and so I really hope that we could get somebody haterish that, if not hater, to be that guy, knowing we're not going to get anywhere near a Rivera, but why aren't we going for Hader? And literally everyone in the chat is saying Hader, Hader, Hader.
Hader. I mean, let's do a little. Hader would certainly be an upgrade at closer over Holmes, and the numbers prove it. But in some respects, there are some arguments for Holmes. Since 2018, Hader has tossed 341 innings with a 2.56 ERA. It's a full 1.28 runs lower than Holmes. So no question, he's got a lower ERA. He strikes out 15.3 batters per 9 innings. That ranks second in MLB among relievers since 2018. However, Holmes has a 0.5 home runs allowed per 9 innings, which is better than Hader, who gave up a 1.1 home run per 9 innings.
Okay, that's something to pause on.
Yeah, and then I know we do know the problems with Hader, that he refused to pitch a 4-out save for the Padres. I'm wondering, do we really know the context of Hader's experience with the Padres in a Padres system? Would he have those same concerns in a Yankee system, in a Yankee bullpen? I don't know.
The thing is, we don't know, and Lord knows that social media, print media, are using not looking at context all the time with what they report. So yeah, we've heard nothing but diva-ish stuff about Hader, but we don't know yet.
I agree with Jonna. She says I wouldn't count Holmes out. And that's really all my argument is. Not that I wouldn't count Holmes out. He was nominated along with Judge and Cole to be on the All MLB team. So I think that says something, speaks to the solid season that he had. We'll find out who's on that All MLB team, by the way, on December 16th. So I expect Judge and Cole will be on the team, but it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Josh Hader.
Angelo has tossed out a few other names, like Will Smith or D-Rob.
Okay.
And he also mentioned earlier up Luis Gill. So
right.
I
love Liam Hendricks. FJ suggests Liam Hendricks. I love him, and I think he's got great stuff. But as Brad says, the White Sox aren't trading Hendricks, so that probably is true. And someone suggested Emmanuel Classe. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but he's an interesting closer. He had the most saves this year, and he also had the most blown saves. So talk about needing the Rolaids.
Yeah, I think I'd like to have my nails grow a little bit and have less digestive issues this coming season. I don't think that's too much to ask, but
I don't think that's too much to ask. No.
So just one more thing about all these hopes for winter meetings. I think we're pretty certain that Soto is going to leave with a contract, and that goes across everything I've read this past week. What's interesting to me is that there's been radio silence about Yamamoto. And last week, allegedly, were going to be all of those Zoom calls with Yamamoto's finalists so that he could make a decision about who to come over and meet with this coming week after winter meeting, or the week after winter meetings, I should say. So what do you think that's about, everybody? And is there any chance that something's going to happen at winter meetings, even though Yamamoto won't be there? His agent, I'm sure, will be. Right. So what are your thoughts about that? Or did I miss something in the press?
I agree with FJ. Yamamoto signs before Christmas. He has everything to gain and nothing to lose, in my opinion. He should get him signed, and he should be a Yankee. We saved number 18. It should be a no-brainer. Sign Yamamoto. Go get Soto. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's make these. I mean, I want the Yankees to walk in there with like gangbusters tomorrow and just start signing people and shit.
And listen, if you should want to come just so that you're getting Scott Brosius' number, in my opinion. So that should give Yankees the edge here for sure. But if he 100%, in fact, read that in more than one article this week, that the Mets are more than all in. And so it looks like a battle of the boroughs at the moment. And, if I had to put Cohen and Cashman in a ring, it's going to be a TKO, right after the first bell.
Oh, my God. FJ, if we lose out on Yamamoto, yes, go get Imanaga. I'm happy with that. That would be great. I also say if we lose out on, go get Snell. I'm happy. I would be perfectly happy. We're not going to get Glass now. I don't believe that's going to happen. They're not going to trade Glass now to the Yankees. But I think Imanaga, he's definitely, as Jonna suggests, he's our backup plan. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
MLB.
Or Trevor Bauer. Don't forget Trevor.
Oh yeah, forget Trevor. Don't forget Trevor Bauer. But MLB.com also mentioned the possibility of a Imanaga Yamamoto package. And I don't even want to know how much that would cost. But
right.
As Rose is saying here, money's going to be the great decider. That's what worries me. That's what worries me, because we're not the spenders. We're the basement dwellers and the flea market garage sale people.
Right.
Has me really worried for the big money guys, for Soto and Yamamoto both.
The Yankees have no, in my opinion, if they want to save face after a year that they themselves called a disaster, they have no choice but to go out and get the best players possible in this offseason. Build your team around two of the best generational players of MLB, around Cole and Judge, while you've got them at their prime. Build around these two. Get the best players out there, and it's time to be serious about winning in the Bronx again.
Yeah, and FJ, that looks pretty good to me as well, except you don't have Nestor there. And if you're putting Rodon there, to me, Nestor goes there before Rodon, because I'd like to think last season was an aberration, and we're going to get what we paid for this coming season for him. But right now, what we really have is Nestor, who's been solid, not just on performance, but such a key guy in the clubhouse, and has earned the respect of Yankee fans already. And so that's going to be really tough. My jury is more out on Rodon than it is on Nestor.
Mine too.
So that's the only tweak I would make there. And if I had to choose between King and Schmidt, I'm with you. I would go King over Schmidt. Myself. What about you, Chris? Would you go King over Schmidt? Because I think that
King. Yeah, I hate to treat King and Schmidt like interchangeable, and that's true. And I think that at this point, probably for me, Schmidt seems a little bit more seasoned, but I don't know the numbers. Either one of those two is fine for me in the rotation. I like I said, I don't mean to treat them as interchangeable. However, either one of them to me is also fine to trade for Soto. If one of them has to go, that's fine with me too.
And FJ, I get it. That his durability is a question.
Yeah.
But same for Rodon. So to me, it comes down still to the same thing. We have to see what they both bring in spring training when they get back. But I don't know. Maybe we all need to forget about last year Rodon and put him like a new get,
right,
and see what he looks like. I will try to be objective about it.
Yeah. We're stuck with Rodon. He better improve. And I'm hoping that he was humiliated enough at the end of last season to come back and prove himself. I think that Brad's right. He does need to prove himself. He needs a bounce back year, and he's capable of it. When he was with San Francisco, he was lights out. There's no reason to give up on Rodon.
No,
but there's also, to put complete faith in him is also probably foolish.
Right. Yeah. And I am just being protective of the nasty.
I want to see Nestor succeed.
And really where they're level on the playing field is their commitment. I mean, it was very clear that this was bothering the hell out of Rodon.
Right.
And that he was, Cole-like, with he was kicking himself, he was cursing at himself.
Right.
And I believe that he's driving and drilling, all postseason.
Yeah.
I'm confident about that.
Absolutely.
So we'll have to just see how it all plays out and how they look in Tampa.
Right. Lynn, do you have any final thoughts about the winter meetings before we answer the trivia question? What is your wish list? Give me 1, 2, 3.
Okay, my wish list is Soto, Yamamoto, and a I really want a left-handed bat if we don't get Soto, by the way.
Okay.
And I do want a left-hander in pitching. And I think our discussion about the bullpen tells me that although we haven't been talking about getting a closer, we do need a little extra depth out there. And so, yeah, I'm actually going to make my third. That's not a lot of choices. I'd make my third. Let's get a bullpen guy. Let's get a closer if we. Yep. And so, yeah. And chat. Hey, listen, if you have your top 3 wishes, put them in the chat. Yep. And I'm going to call up the trivia question of the week so that we can review it. Lori threw it down at the beginning and said that she knew the answer. And she put it in the chat, but I'm not going to call it out right now. So let's see, Lori, you have a good track record of being right. So here we go, everybody, for those of you that might have missed it. So when Steinbrenner bought the team in 1973, it would be the final year that it would exist. Yankee Stadium would exist in its original form. And then it underwent a 2-year renovation. So the question is, though named the house that Ruth built, which Yankee hit the last home run in the original Yankee Stadium? And Brad's saying the Mick. Lori said, I believe you said Molina, Lori, if I remember correctly. And let me just do this. Oh, sure. I remember Duke Sims. Yeah. I got his autograph. Elliot's like sinister lately.
Elliot, we love the question. Thank you. So no one could have ever guessed Dick Sims.
Duke Sims, a solo shot.
Oh, I'm sorry, Duke Sims.
Duke Sims, but Dick works. Solo shot in the top of the 7th inning. Wow. Listen, if you had gotten that right in the chat, I'd have to come see you, even if I had to fly across the country. Give you some big gift or something. Nope. And Effie, you don't have to worry. I don't think you're alone.
No, and NFE, I agree with you. My 3 wishes would be Yamamoto, Soto, and Monty. And I hope Monty doesn't sign in Boston. And I don't even know how I could look at him in a Boston uniform. It would freaking hurt my eyes.
FJ, did you really say Duke Sims? Are you like calling my bluff? And do I have to come see you? You're gonna have to let me know. And so with Molina, FJ is saying you were close, Lori, that he hit the last home run in 2008.
Okay.
And Rose is saying her top 3 wishes are Monty, Yamamoto, and another lefty.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we want to thank everyone for joining us today. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, talk to us in X. What used to be known as Twitter. We love to talk Yankee baseball anytime. I'm up all night. Lynn's around all day. Let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to come back next Sunday at the same time. And hopefully by then we're going to have some kick-ass news.
Oh, my God. What a show it can be next week. Let's hope we get it. So thanks as always, everybody. And remember, you got a reserved seat right here with Chris and me up in the upper deck. Go Yankees!
Go Yankees!
Go to Nashville!